All right, we got a lot to cover on our side today, but as always, we like to make sure that we're covering the things, Clayton, that you'd like to have. Is there anything on your heart, mind today that you want to cover before we jump in and go over the things we have?
There's at least one question I had
Yep.
as far as the personality masters.
Yes, sir.
Would you, for that ball, cube, pyramid, would you print that off and have each of the employees mark that?
Great
Or,
question. Great question. Um, you can, you can do that. And so I typically just verbally ask people, I typically just verbally ask people, but if you want to go ahead and print it off, you can do that and just ask them. So either way, again, it takes 17 seconds. And so sometimes people aren't clear on, what a wavy line is or a pyramid is or whatever. And so it can help some people to understand it better. If somebody says, if somebody says, I don't know, I just don't know on on the shapes. What you do
okay,
is just say, just humor me, just guess, just what comes to mind. Just do the best you can. Um, if they have a hard time taking the test, or some people might think it's a stupid test. That's a little bit
okay,
more in the English world than the Amish. In the Amish, I haven't found that, or maybe they're just polite. Um, but if somebody can't take the test, like they're like, I don't know. They're what's called a chameleon personality. They're an inner quadrant. So even if somebody says I can't take the test, you know what their personality is. There's 24 different types of chameleon personalities. And so there's 24 different types of them deep inner quadrant. So it's still good to get them. But if they struggle with it, you just kind of encourage them. Just, what comes to mind. There's no right and wrong answers. There's no good and bad. It just is what it is.
okay, gotcha.
Yep. Either way. So
Okay,
whatever works for you or works for your employees in getting that, however you do that is fine.
okay. I know,
Sometimes,
I just,
sorry, go
go
ahead.
ahead. I was just thinking, probably if I would have seen everything, my answer might have been different. I don't know.
Yeah. And
Maybe not.
and what's interesting is even if it is different, it's sometimes the same. I mean, it's like you might test out as a different type of chameleon personality. So they can kind of shift some, but the essence is going to be similar. What you do want to watch for is if somebody does fill it out manually, I think the directions are pretty clear, but there are people sometimes that will go ahead and mark like three ones. Like they say, one for the cube, one for the ball, and one for the wavy line. And you're like, no, you only get one, one, two, one, three, and one, four. So you gotta, one, two, three, and four. So it seems like the instructions to me are clear, but sometimes, once in a while, somebody either misunderstands the instructions and sometimes somebody will just, do those things.
Okay. Okay.
Make
Yeah,
sense?
yep, it
Cool.
does. So,
All right. And so one of the things that you can do is, some people like assignments, some don't. Sometimes, if we don't like assignments, we still need to have them. You can give yourself assignments, or we can give you assignments. Do you want to walk away from, each coaching session with an assignment
uh,
or two?
probably for now, it'd be better not because I'm
Oh,
struggling to keep up with what I got.
no problem. No problem. So
I'd say maybe after New Year's or so,
yeah, and
we,
that's
we
fine.
might try that.
Yeah, and one of the things that we're looking for is we're looking for things that, like we had said at the beginning, if you invest an hour into Action Vision, you should get 3 hours back of additional time productivity. Now, that's not
Okay.
necessarily you invest an hour today, you get 3 hours back today. It's more like planting than fishing. I mean, it's something that's going to happen in the next week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 4 weeks. So we want to be sensitive to where, how do you, like, I have an extra 20 or 30 hours of free time a week. Getting that
Okay.
20 or 30 free hours of time is not the hardest part. The hardest part is keeping it.
Okay.
So there's something that's called the caught in the middle principle. And that principle is no matter, how efficient, how effective, Clayton, you are, if you're surrounded by weak, inefficient, ineffective people, you too will be weak, inefficient, and ineffective.
Gotcha. That makes sense.
It's like a chain, like a chain link. It's only as strong, as its weakest link.
Yeah.
And so what we want to do is we want to start strengthening all the chain links around you because we can help you get an extra 3, 4, 5, 10 hours a week. But if we don't help everybody, and this includes spouse and children and employees and, vendors, I mean, everybody around you, if we don't go ahead and help them become stronger and more disciplined too, it's almost like quicksand. You can get as much extra time as you want. Somebody's always going to take it from you.
Gotcha. Yeah.
Questions?
Nope. I don't think so. Not
Cool.
on that. That
All right. All right. How many leads would you say that you're getting on average a month? Like in the past, how many leads would you say you're getting a month on average?
Oh boy, that'd be all new job opportunities.
Yes, sir. A
What?
lead would be somebody who's connected with you, somehow called you, stopped in, whatever, and expressed interest in your products or services. And they've given you a name and phone number, some way to connect with them. So any new business opportunities, that would be a lead.
Okay, just off the top of my head, I was thinking probably 30, between 30 and 40, I imagine. I don't know.
Yeah, that's fine. Do you track all of those?
Nope, not. I mean, the only if I do an estimate, I'd have track of those.
Gotcha. How many people that express interest actually give you estimates? How many do you do estimates for? Like if you get 10 people that come in, express interest, how many of those do you do estimates? Do you do 10 out of 10, 5 out of 10, 2 out of 10?
I'd say at least nine, possibly a little better.
Okay, good for you.
I
Okay,
mean,
excellent. Excellent. And so of those, can you start tracking all your leads? It can just be in a 3 ring binder or in a notepad or something. Can you start tracking all of your leads?
yeah, I could probably do that.
And then when you get a lead, do you ask them where they go ahead and, heard from you?
Nope, not usually.
You'd start
I
doing
mean, because
that.
the most of them come from a contractor, so I know where those are coming from.
Okay. So when you track the lead, can you go ahead and track where that lead came from? So if it's from a contractor, which contractor, can you start tracking where all the leads are coming from?
Yeah, I could probably, for the most part, yeah, I'd say
Okay.
so.
And so you want to get that into a system so as you change your marketing, add new marketing, test out new things, you want to go ahead and find out where are you getting. So there's quantity of leads and quality of leads. So we want to start looking at where do you get the highest quantity with the highest quality.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. And then, so how many estimates would you say you do a month on average?
Oh, that again, let me see. Probably also 25, 30 in that range, I imagine.
Gotcha. All right, good. And then how many new, how many new jobs do you do on a monthly basis on average?
Oh boy, you're asking me some tough questions here because
Sorry.
I I haven't tracked that yet too much, but new jobs, I'd say around 25,
Gotcha.
give or take there again.
Yeah, no, there's always averages and that kind of wipes out the depends. Um, and so one of the things that we'll start building maybe, maybe we start doing it at the beginning of the year, whenever you want to do it. But this information is really valuable to you. And
Okay.
so what can happen if you're not careful, if you don't have plan and systems and you're not watching your numbers, what can happen is you can go from 1 million to 2 million in sales, but your profit on 1 million, could be 20%, profit. And on 2 million, it could be 10% profit.
Okay. Yeah.
So if you're not really careful with your numbers and what's going on, as you grow and expand. And there's things that these numbers will reveal to you. So you can kind of see, Wayne Gretzky is a famous hockey player. And he went ahead and people ask him why he was so good. He goes, because I'm going where the puck is going, not where it's at. So in business, there's like different indicators in your business that will reveal potential weaknesses before they hit you.
Okay.
And if we can
Yeah.
track those, that gives you an advantage to know what's coming down the road before it comes down the road. So you have an idea of what's happening before it happens.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Okay. And then what would you say your monthly average sales would be? Again, it's going to be, go up and down. But over the last 6 months or 12 months, what would you say your average sales would be
Average is okay in
on a monthly basis?
the total sale, gross sales.
Yes, sir.
Okay, that I think is, well, I think my gross for the year is about 1.6 million right now.
Okay.
So,
About 133,000.
yeah, probably.
Okay. And then what's your average expenses?
Let's see. Not sure on that.
Okay. If you had to just guess, we can change it, but if you had to guess, what would you guess it would be?
Probably, I'm going to say 1.2 million, maybe.
Gotcha. So about 100,000 a month.
Yeah.
Okay. And then do you have like business accounts where you have financial reserves,
Okay, you're talking,
like balances in your business accounts? Do you keep 10,000 in reserves or 20 or 100,000 to kind of handle the ups and the downs that happen in business?
yeah, I mean, I try to keep my bank account. I mean, most of the time it's between 50 and 100,000 in my account. So,
Gotcha. Yep, that's exactly right. Okay. And then do you know um, what your average sales cycle is by any chance? If not, it's okay. You can estimate it. What that means is from the time you get the lead to the time you get an estimate signed, from the time they express interest to the time they go forward. Do you have any ideas? Is that a week on average? It is a month? Is it 3 months?
Oh, I'd say on average between probably around 2 weeks, I imagine.
Good for you. Okay. And then what would you say your average job time is um, from the time you start the job to the time you end it?
That's probably more like 4 months,
Okay.
three between 3 and 4 months, probably.
Does it take you, is that the time from when they sign the contract, the estimate, to when you finish, or from when you start the job to finishing the job?
Probably start the job to finishing it.
Gotcha. Okay. And what is your average sale size, would you say?
Probably 25,000.
Gotcha. And has that been pretty consistent over the years? Is that something you want to increase? Has it gone up, gone down?
I'd say that's probably increasing slowly the
Okay.
last 6 months, or even going forward. My estimates are becoming more so, because I did go up in my price a little bit
Gotcha.
just
Okay, good.
lately. So,
Yeah, good. So you can think about it. You don't need to give me an answer now. But you can think about if you'd like us to go ahead and have you fill out paperwork and then get that paperwork over to us and have us use spreadsheets to analyze different key aspects of your business. So, are you
okay.
familiar with spreadsheets and stuff?
Nope, I'm not.
Okay. So, essentially, spreadsheets, they're just math. They just do math for you. So what they do is they go ahead and they um, they analyze things very quickly. So you put in data, you put in different amounts of data, and it'll tell you a whole bunch of information about your business. The more information you know about your business, the better you can run your business.
Okay.
So again, you don't have to give me an answer now. It's a bit more work on somebody's part to just track the different pieces of data. As a company gets larger, um, there's more stuff going on. And so it's harder for the business owner to keep an understanding of everything. And so it can help you to be more profitable. It can help you to work less hours. It can help you reduce your stress. It can help with a lot of things. So we can help you with that if you want us to. You don't need to have spreadsheets. We can take care of all that. We just need to have the data to put in. And so you could write that down. We could create some forms for you or your employees to do. So again, it's up to you. You can think about it.
Okay.
All right.
And that would probably be all information I could get off of QuickBooks.
No, QuickBooks probably won't have it. It would be, do you have any type of a manual system where you go ahead and track, like once a job gets ordered, where you have, here's the address, here's the start date, here's the materials that are going in. Do you have any type of a manual system that tracks all that?
Not really. I mean, I got a calendar where I write my stuff down, what's on the schedule, but not for the
Gotcha.
most part. No, I go according to the estimate or whatever is.
Do you track? Do you track on like how much you thought a job was going to cost you time and materials and how much it actually did?
Yeah, I can go into my profit and loss and see what it did for me.
So in the QuickBooks stuff, you actually track how many man hours you put into it, and how much materials and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yep.
So that's really good. So QuickBooks might be able to, depending on, where that is, QuickBooks might be able to provide that for us. And so that would be good. So that might go ahead and be able to do it. There's probably some other data, but if you're tracking all of that, but you don't really analyze that or look over that as of this point.
Oh, I mean, yeah, I go into my profit and loss every so often. If I have a question about a job, see if we lost or had a profit on a job, I go into there and check it out. Yeah.
Okay, gotcha. So there might be some additional things there that we can pull out that will help you. Okay.
Okay.
The your 90-day goals again, the four that you had was being able to read your employees and customers on your based on their personality. So you're making good progress on that. So keep that good work up on that. Written estimates, and so making sure that that you go ahead and that you have. What were you wanting to do on that specifically? Like, what was it to go ahead and protect you against the people that were kind of coming in and you know overbidding you, or were there other things or under like you were having to do more work based on kind of them expecting more, or was there other types of things you were hoping to do on the written estimates as well?
The main thing was just make sure I'm covered as far as the people that expect more than what what I was thinking on the estimate.
Yeah.
That was the main thing I wanted to
Okay.
address, I guess.
And do you feel you have more clarity on that, or do you still need more clarity from us?
Oh, I mean, once I'm able to read people better, yeah, I mean, and I'm starting to see into that more and more. So yeah, it's working that way.
Good, good. So all four personalities can do that to you, but the one that tends to do it the most to you is the analytic amiable.
That's the ball.
That's the cube and the
The cube.
ball.
Okay,
Yeah, the cube
cube and the
first,
ball.
and then the ball second.
Okay,
So those again, the pyramid and the wavy line, they can do it too. None are, so it's not just the cube and the ball, but the cube and the ball tend to be the ones that will do the most for you. So the cube, they're very detailed and they want to get the most value, but they can kind of push that too much. And the ball, they'll do it because they're super nice. So they'll get more than they'll kind of add to it, but they do it in such a nice way that you feel guilty about saying, "Hey, that's not what was included."
okay, yeah,
So those two. So there's techniques. So one is so you might just bump that up 10-20%, just knowing, hey, they're probably going to do that. You know, you can always refund money. Clients are never upset if you give them back money. They're never. So if you bumping them up, that can do that. There's other techniques that as you get more aware of the different personalities, that we can teach you on that as well.
okay, yeah,
And then the third
yeah.
thing was being a little bit more organized and, get my shop organized. Um, and then, and then we'll get your new shop next spring. Is there anything we can do to help specifically on the organization of your shop?
So as of right now, not really that I know of. I
Okay.
mean,
So one thing I would suggest is I would suggest when you're talking to your employees, um, ask your employees for suggestions on how the shop could be set up to be more efficient.
Okay.
So,
That definitely makes sense because I mean,
yeah,
I know for me, I tell the other guys, if you're not sure, communicate with each other because uh, when I was first started in, even just talking with somebody about a certain thing, how would you do it? It maybe triggered something that, hey, maybe something else would work better. So,
absolutely. So that the
uh,
benefit of, and then if you can write those suggestions down and then get those over to us, so we have those, that would be good.
okay. You mean as far as what they suggest on the new shop or so?
Yes. So
Okay.
on the current shop and the new shop. So, so both of those, especially on the current shop. And so
Okay.
what that does is it does a number of things. One is it does, like you said, you start talking about it, you start having ideas. They have ideas, people bounce ideas off of one another, all of those type of things. And so that's
Yeah.
one. Two is it starts when you start asking questions, it starts to implant within their mind a sensitivity and awareness for efficiency. So even if they don't have any suggestions, because you're asking that question, that alone will help them to think in a more efficient manner.
Okay. Yeah.
Make sense?
It does. Yeah.
Cool. And then the fourth one is how to get my employees to be the most efficient. So efficiency in the shop and want employees to speak up, if they see something, say it.
Yeah. Okay.
So there's the three parts to the DNA for your boss system, your engine, and the third one's the DNA for natural laws. So there's over 500 natural laws that we've discovered in the last 30 plus years. So one of those
Okay.
natural laws is the killer whale training principle. So, in the different, what do they call them, like SeaWorld, and where they're training killer whales. Like killer whales are like they're huge, right? How do you train them
Yeah.
to do things? So what they do is they get three killer whales together in a place where they can train them, and they work with them, and they get one of the killer whales to do a behavior that they're supposed to, and then they play with that killer whale, literally. I don't know how you play with killer whales, but they do. And so the other two killer whales see that they're being played with, and they will mock or they will mimic that behavior. They will model that behavior. So in human psychology, the same thing is true. So the
Okay.
same exact thing is true where if you go ahead and play with your employees, if you lift them up and praise them in front of their peers, other employees are going to want that same type of playing with. They want that recognition. They want that praise and affirmation. So you
Gotcha.
might
Yeah.
so you might go ahead and have a sign that you put up somewhere in the shop, see it, say it. So if you
Okay.
see something, say something. You might turn it into a monthly contest where it's efficiencies, how we can do better, how we can serve clients better, all of those type of things. And they might go ahead and have a suggestion box. And then
Okay. Yeah.
and then at the end of the month, you might give, I don't know, a 20 or $50 gift certificate. You might have a drawing. So if somebody puts in three suggestions, they have 3 times the chance that they would go ahead and get a drawing. So you might turn it into something fun, and and then so if there's 10 suggestions at the end of the month, if there's 10 suggestions at the end of the month, somebody does a drawing, and whoever gets drawn. So the more suggestions they have, the better chance they have of winning.
Okay, that makes sense. Absolutely.
Yeah.
I have already thought of telling them that, hey, if they come up with a good suggestion to kind of do something like that, I just wasn't sure how to go about doing it yet. So,
Yeah, there's 2 ways you can do it. You can do it both ways too. You can do it both ways. If you do it just based on chance, there's less chance that somebody's going to be angry.
okay,
If you go ahead, you could go ahead and you could do, just based on chance, like you could do a $50 gift certificate or something like that, just based on chance. The other thing you could do is you could say, if we get 10 or more suggestions, then everybody can vote on which they think is the best. And then the one who gets the most votes, they would also get a $50, certificate or whatever.
okay,
So you can
yeah,
do both of those things.
okay,
Make sense?
yep, it does.
Cool. So what we'll do is next week we'll go ahead and review over your action vision plan and start going through. Marla will get you out a new scored one. So we've got the scoring based on your benchmark. So we'll go over that next week, continue with the personalities. We might touch on the referral and then a little bit on the communication if there's, other types of things too.
Okay,
Anything else, Clayton, we can do to help you today?
I think that's it for today.
All right, sir. Have a blessed day. Appreciate it. Keep up the
Thank
good
you.
work. We'll see you. Bye
Bye.
bye. Okay. So, how do you go ahead and, how do you go? How do I train? Um, how do I train um, others in doing what I just did? Mary Jo, Marla,
I don't know.
Mary Jo.
Honestly, I'm learning a lot from just even sitting in. So,
So I was hoping you guys would know because I don't know either. You know, and so um, I think a lot of it is systems, like a process. Like you see how I'm starting to build a system or process to go through. I know what I've covered, and then I'm getting key information about the client, getting a feel for the client, all of those types of things. The action vision, he's doing his benchmark is 25%. So he's doing 25% of his plan, on track to make 46% of his plan, is a 21% positive variance. If that were to stay, he would only need to go ahead and do 79% of the plan to get to 100% of the goal. So on the action vision, what this does is it helps us to go ahead and see, helps him to see, us to see. He's got a 73% rate sales closing ratio, kind of ish. And so, which is very high. So when we start getting into these types of things, then that will open up more opportunities and he will be able to see more. Now, in the coaching, the broad-based coaching, like I can go in and I can just coach somebody on pretty much anything. That obviously is going to be hard for you. Oh, so that's where the box coaching comes into play. So one of you could become an expert in um, box 7. Another one of you could become an expert in the personality DNA for people. So if you become an expert in a narrow area, you could come in and you could do coaching in that area with a great deal of confidence. And so that's another way to do it. So a lot of it's exposure. You're just going in. And then if you find with, your accounts, like if you're coaching, Kenny or Luke, or if you're coaching, Jason, if you're coaching or coaching one another in your action vision plan, and then you start seeing yourself asking these kind of questions and you're following this system or process, that will help you a great deal in being able to get up to speed. Now, he said he didn't want assignments. And so I've got to remember, so I might go here and I say, we'll start in January. So in coaching, it's like braces for your teeth. You don't want to have too much, it's too painful. So what you're seeing I'm kind of nudging and moving. Like if he wants it, he can have it. He doesn't want it, but I'm still going to put it here. And then I'm just going to be gentle. I'm just going to be like, hey, we had mentioned about, these type of things. How are you doing on this? Because he went with a higher level of action vision, that gives us more room, tools, time, resources that we can invest into him. So that's going to be good for him, where we're going to put more time in because he's invested into a higher action vision level. Makes sense?
Yeah.
Anything else that either of you have?
So, am I supposed to get the benchmark scoring over to him?
Yes. Now that I have, it's a new, I don't know, there's a bug up here, but we don't even worry about that. That'll clean itself up. So now we have this over to him. We have these numbers here to him. And so we have everything ready. Everything's looking good. Yes. If you go ahead, make sure when you print it out, you've got the latest version of it. Because
Yeah.
we didn't have any of this data here. We didn't have the 37, 27, didn't have, percentage of goal. That data that I picked up today, that's the data that finished this thing out.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
So, yep, you can get this out to him. So,
And then I'll call Willis and try to set something up for tomorrow or.
yeah, for sure. Yep. And keep me up to date on that, because I probably ought to try to swing in and give him, a call and stuff like that, and kind of nurture him along, even if it's through voicemails. So,
Okay. Yeah. Because lately hasn't really been picking up my calls. So we'll
yep.
see.
All right. Good work, ladies. Thank you.
Thank you.
Mark,